Season 35. Season 35. Season 35. Season 35. First clock, same crown. Still have to range down when it's sight. Holy gunning every night. Repeat talk every show. Everybody wants that cone. History knocking at the door. Nobody done this before. Every snap, every drive, every week on the line. Reckless reset. Expectations don't. You either match it or you won't.
Beat drops hard.
Cause game day, no delay, prove it now, make it play, season play, 35, new one, chasing one and stopping one, NDL, game day.
What's going on, everybody? This is Lick on NDL Game Day. I'm here with Penguin, Pat, and Hubbard. We're heading into Block 3 already in Season 35, almost halfway home for the last season of this video game. And so we're starting to get heated up a little bit with these matchups and stuff that are coming in the NDL here. And so we were obviously pregame talking about some of these extra ones that aren't part of the game of the weeks, and there's some big matchups in conferences in general. And so we're super excited to dive into that. The polls got released this morning, and so that's exciting. Man, how are you guys doing this weekend? The weather's getting better, at least down here. What about you, Penguin?
Fighting off a cold a bit here, but it's gonna get warm today, so that'll feel good. The all the rose bushes and stuff I pruned and got 100 cuts from are starting to bloom, so the hard work's gonna pay off, and that's spring is always a good time.
Yeah, Tim, you nailed it. Weather's good. This is the biggest party day in the year for our city in Charlotte. St. Patty's Day weekend. They always celebrate the Saturday before. Um, it's like you can't even drive around in the city. You have to walk. So I'll be going out to meet friends later this afternoon around 4 or 5 o'clock. So look forward to that after the players tournament is over, because definitely one of my favorite tournaments to watch.
Yeah, so the key there is you want to try to play Pat tonight if you have a game within this block. If you can get him at
No,
10
I'm not.
o'clock tonight.
Sober, dude. Sober. This Sunday will be 30 days. Come on.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Let's go. Let's go.
So that means you should play because you'll be sober.
Yeah. Hey, first game, first tough game being sober, and I fucking lose. So, it's all just a myth anyway.
So you're just further encouraging your opponents thing.
Oh, bunch of
It's
shit.
all part of his hustle. It's all part of his hustle.
Yes.
Yeah, right.
No, man, you mentioned the weather, man. The weather's bipolar in Texas. If you guys are around here, like it's cold one day and wind's blowing 40 miles an hour. Next day it's 85. It just can't make its mind up. So Penguin mentioned he's got a cold. Everybody around here will be sick over the next couple of weeks because it's going to go back and forth until it makes up its mind. But no, man, excited about Block 3. I think there's a lot of really good games coming up, and I'm not even sure. We're not going to go 3 hours, but we probably could with some of the matchups that we got.
Yeah. You talk about the weather and stuff. Jeremy, obviously down here in the South in Louisiana right now, it's like pollen season, so it's absolutely disgusting outside. And the weather doesn't help when it heats up and then it gets cold again, because then it goes through the process all over again. And it stinks because this weekend we're planning on planting some saga palms and some palm tree stuff out back by the pool, and it's supposed to freeze on Monday. And so we bought all the stuff yesterday, and so it's like all in the like in my kitchen. And I'm scared to plant it because I'm terrified that it'll end up dying on Monday. And so you walk into our house and it looks like you're in the jungle. And then, it doesn't help that we have like 15 monkeys and 4 goats. And I'm talking about kids, not like penguins.
I was going to say, is that even legal? Okay. Is that even legal to have 15 monkeys? I don't know.
100%. Is where they get you is on the hedgehogs. That's where the rules show up.
Oh, man.
Man, so let's go ahead. Go, Jeremy.
I was going to say, I'm going to do some planting this weekend, too. I'm going to plant my ass right here on this couch. We're going to watch.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, and listen, I've been on the go all week, man. That's spring break for me, man. If you're a teacher, you know this. Like, spring break, don't do a damn thing.
Man, you got all week off?
Facing that Dominican lineup Sunday. That's going to be.
Yeah, that's actually going to be really fun. I don't know how many of you guys are following the WBC close. I love it, man. It's one of the greatest things ever, in my opinion. Yeah, that game tomorrow night, it's going to be Skeens against the Dominican. It's going to be, it could be really good baseball, or it could go really bad. Yeah, it's going to be fun.
Yeah, last night was exciting. Obviously, hopefully Hughes is in the chat again. The United States going for the hat trick. Going for the hat trick
Oh,
right now.
see what you did
We're-
there.
Yeah,
Canada's got to be sick and tired of just getting their asses kicked by us.
it's like we're like the big
Well,
brother, right? We're like the big
yeah.
brother, and they're never going to be able to beat us. Like
Imagine getting beat in your own.
twice, twice, twice.
Uh,
Yeah, exciting stuff. So obviously the polls dropped today. This is always a fun thing to talk about is the polls, and we had a little bit of movement in the polls this week in the NDL here. And so I'll throw this image up here and just kind of Penguin, you can walk us through what do you think are some of the big movers, the ones that you don't agree with? Maybe we'll just start with the coaches poll here.
Fantastic. One, I think Alabama is way too high right now. They've had some struggles. Sure, they deserve to be in the top 10, but number 3, no, no way you're telling me Alabama is better than Utah, Georgia, Oregon, Ole Miss, or frankly Kansas or Florida right now. They don't deserve to be above those teams. That's messed up. And I've got one that's underrated too that I don't see on the poll that I think should be making an appearance. Hawaii should be in there somewhere. Sure, they're only 3-0, but I think they've done enough to be breaking into that top 25 right now and should merit some consideration. Luis has got that offense doing some things, and if you played him, I mean, we've actually talked about on the show before. It's a good match for him. Hawaii is definitely a. I don't think they'll be a playoff team, but they're going to make some noise and they'll be in the conversation for a while.
Yeah, good thoughts on Alabama. Texas Tech is way too. What are they, top 10? And who in the
Yeah.
hell have they played? And they're dodging Utah right now. Just completely ignoring the game of the week, just not playing. And Marion is more than available. So clearly dodging to maybe get some more work in. And then the biggest mover, which look, is Clemson. Shocking loss to Syracuse. Just on at home, way better roster, giving up that many points to Syracuse. Good on Syracuse, by the way. A great win. I'm not putting that down, but it's shocking someone as talented as Pirate would lose to a roster of that caliber at home. Those are my two biggest surprises. Good to see Vandy in there. Good to see JMU in there. And then I actually have the media poll open, and we need to remove some of these ballots in here. Some of these guys don't even contribute. Start to do something, fellas. X Cross, I don't know what you do for the media team. DK, love you. Start moving. You got DK's got Florida #1, Ohio State 6. What the hell? That's terrible. So yeah, definitely Texas Tech too high, and Clemson being the biggest mover. A little bit disappointing, and I would still have A&M even higher than where they are right now. I think he had a one-off loss to Louisville. I think he'll be right up there in the end.
Yeah, the poll's interesting, right? You hit on a couple of them. I'm actually one who had Clemson a little higher. I had them, in that 17 to 18 range. Even losing to Syracuse, we forget that 2 seasons ago, CG at Michigan State was in CFP contention. I know last year at Texas, it didn't go very well for him. He was still kind of in the mix at the end, right? Even though he wasn't there. However, I just think that's I think Syracuse's roster, if you've looked at it, like the guys that were drafted in that 40 to 50 range, you probably looked 30, 40, 50 range, probably looked at it. They got a lot of speed guys on that roster. It's not a great roster by any means, but it's not a bad one. And I think CG's a pretty good coach. You did mention Florida. I do think I was interested to see where Florida would fall in there. I think Florida, the big wins last week, obviously Miami and then LSU. I still think that maybe 8's maybe a little low for him. We'll see. He's going to get to prove it over the next couple weeks, right? And we've had some conversations about him, but those are both 2 big wins for him. Tutty, man, congrats to Tutty in the year he's having there at number 5. I think that's great. I had, I think we were talking about this during the week. I think the bottom 4 or 5 spots in this poll are really tough to pick with what's going on right now. You mentioned James Madison. I had them in there. So I still have South Florida, and I know the record's bad, but look at who they've lost to and how that's gone. I don't think that's a bad look for them. And then BYU is a team that it seems like we're always talking about that roster is really good, even though they lost the receiver. But I think that the top 15 or 16 or so are about what it should be, and then after that, we're probably still a block or two away from it really kind of lining itself out.
Yeah,
I'm
there's
excited that the SEC has two of the core teams like have coaches that we know are going to stick around and play their games, and I think it'll make that conference a little more special to watch this year. No offense to Ank and the coach that took over for A&M last year; they were put in a tough situation, but I mean that completely flipped the conference on its head last year.
yep.
Two guys leaving and being replaced by coaches who didn't draft that high because of their skill level; they just jumped in the league. And I think that's what makes. I think that's why the SEC last year. I know Snuggie has said it before that they were overrated. Definitely not overrated this season by any means. I think it is a nasty conference, especially with Maverick really showing his chops at Florida. He just adds a wrinkle now to the conference being super deep and Jumper being an Ole Miss as well.
Yeah, there are no easy games.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
talk
I
about
mean,
25.
you guys talk about Florida real quick. I'm sure some of you guys tuned in for that game. Great game. I mean, he's played two really close games, obviously against Penguin here at LSU, and then Devin. He's the only coach right now that is undefeated, right, and has two top 10 wins. He's got
Yeah.
wins at Miami and at LSU. I ranked him number 2 in my poll. And the reason being is right now you could easily. I have no problem with DK and ranking him number 1. Ohio State shouldn't be that far back, right? Defending champ. But Florida has the best resume right now. If you ended the season right now and you simmed out all the rest of the games, he'd have the best resume right now. And I know there's a lot of football left. Like like Jeremy talked about, he still plays Texas, Texas A&M, Georgia, Ole Miss, Tennessee.
Oh,
So, I mean, he's got a lot on his plate already. But we'll give kudos to Maverick right now for a wonderful season and two of the biggest wins right now in the NDL. Not talking about upsets or anything, just two of the biggest wins. Going on the road too. Those are bonus points. Going on the
I
road,
think
beating
we've
a
talked
ranked
enough
opponent.
about Florida, but okay, all right.
And
Well,
so,
and we're talking about his schedule, right? We're talking about what he's got left. But if you'd have told us going into last week he was going to go 2-0 this week, you'd have laughed too, right? I mean,
yeah,
I don't know. Listen, at UCF last year, it wasn't great for him, and so it's like, okay, how's this going to go? But it's gone really well. And by the way, you're talking about how deep the conference is. We haven't even mentioned Vandy yet. We're going to talk about him later today, I know, but that guy's unranked somehow, and he's undefeated, and he's pretty talented as well. So it's a deep conference for sure, with the
yeah, and
best
you,
commission.
yeah, and the bottom 10 teams are really tough. Always, I think in the poll. Even I think next week it's still going to be tough because you still, for me at least, it really starts being tough on like, are you gonna start putting more weight on some of the G5 teams that may be undefeated, have some pretty good P4 wins, or are you gonna still take some of these power teams that maybe lost one game? Some are 2-2 that played really tough non-conference games. And so it is really interesting. I'm really surprised, but then not surprised to see JMU not a little bit higher, right? A huge win over El Jefe. And so I think that the coaches poll is probably a reflection of people not knowing who he beat, right? Just looking at his record and not knowing who he beat. But JMU with a big win there, I thought for sure that they would be up in the,
Two big wins.
19, 20. Yeah, a couple big wins. Obviously, I think right now is the front runner to represent the G5 in the CFP right now. I think that would be probably fair to say over Boise, only because of the out of conference wins that he does have right now. And so it'll be really interesting to obviously see how all this shakes out and stuff. But pretty exciting matchups coming up in these next couple blocks.
Chime in a second there. Is there another G5 team that really could surpass JMU at this point? Because you look at their remaining schedule. I mean, no offense to anyone there, but Virginia Tech and South Florida were far and away on paper their two toughest games. They won both of those. I'm not so sure that an undefeated Florida International or Hawaii or anyone like that at the end of the day could possibly have a better resume than JMU right now. They might have a. I mean, it's way early, but they might have an insurmountable lead right now if they just take care of business.
Well, an FIU, aren't the Sims for Block 1 going through today?
I think so.
Yeah, they
Yeah,
should.
so he has an unplayed Block 1 game against Rice, which if he took a Sim loss there, that would pretty much end it. But I don't know that. I haven't looked at the scheduling thread. But yeah,
Yeah.
Even if he
Franklin
runs the
does play
table,
Central Michigan, week 7, FIU. So that'll be a good game. But yeah, you're right. I mean, JMU's got that clear path if they just handle business for sure.
Yeah, and Chip
because
said in the chat here, Chip just said in the chat to Kemp's in the chat too. Chip said to Kemp, play your game so that when I beat you next block, it means something.
Oh.
well, the funny thing is, he said the game is scheduled, and it wasn't the deadline last night.
Yeah, but he may got an extension, right? Like we never know.
Okay,
I know that admin did say, if you're actively scheduling and stuff like that, I have no problem with that. If guys are saying, hey, we missed the deadline, but we're gonna play on such and such date. When is that game scheduled, Kemp? Let us know in the chat, obviously, or put it up on the guide. That'll be exciting.
While we're
I
waiting,
mean,
could Hawaii
none
and
of them
Boise
went
guys face
through.
Madison? The problem is Hawaii and Boise don't even play each other, so they don't even get that chance to get that big win either. So that's
Oh, really?
yeah.
They'd play in the conference championship.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll be.
I mean, I'd say all roads
San
lead
Jose's
through
still in there
JMU.
too.
Hey, and so last year we let a 4-team in the CFP, first time ever. We never even had a 3-team loss, right? Hey, and I at the beginning of the season this year, we did say, a couple of us on the show said that this could be the year we see 2 G5 teams. And I'm just saying,
That would be
definitely not impossible.
It's not impossible.
Horrible.
It's not impossible.
Horrible.
But
Horrible
Especially
idea.
if the ACC and SEC cannibalize each other.
yeah.
There's a real chance you could have some fantastic teams in the ACC and SEC with 3 or 4 losses for sure. And I mean, if you got several of those who are contenders, quote unquote, but tell me you've got an undefeated JMU, an undefeated FIU, you might have a hard time leaving both of those out.
Horrible idea.
Any 3-loss SEC team will get in over a second undefeated G5. I'm just. They will.
Maybe.
They will.
But the question is, how many losses does Kansas need to get left out? I'm thinking 1 keeps them out. What do you guys think?
Golly. For the sake of the live chat, I hope it doesn't happen.
Hey, you guys, not to go off the handles, but I wanted to bring this up today, just kind of out of nowhere. I was on TikTok, and so we're talking about G5 teams right here, right now. Luke Combs, who is a Appalachian State alum and a huge fan of the school, he brought up a great point that I've never thought about on the Bussin' with the Boys, I think it's called, with Taylor Lewan and I forget the other guy's name, Will something. And yeah, Will Compton. He was talking about Mill, and he said that he wishes, and I agree with him, that App State would go back to the FCS and be an FCS team. He said there's no chance of them ever winning a national championship in Division One. And I couldn't agree more with him. What do you guys think about his opinion on that? If you were an App State fan, wouldn't you want to every year have a chance to win a national championship?
So that's the big thing. That's the big thing with NDSU right now. I grew up there. I have a lot of friends that are NDSU fans, and Montana State, Montana fans, and NDSU making the jump next year. Like,
yeah,
they're blown away, right? They've completely dominated that division for the last 20 years, and they're going to come up, and that was the same argument. They'll never win a national championship. They just won't be able to compete. They don't have the money, the resources, and they'll never get those.
And it's not even so much about winning, right? They can't even compete financially, right, with NIL and stuff like that.
Yep.
I think there's going to be. It's funny you mentioned this, Pat, because I was reading the past couple weeks. I think there's going to be a group of about 8 to 10 you may see leave. I think there's a big group that may say, you know what, let's just get out and go down there. The NIL game is a lot less. We can compete. I think we could see 8 to 10 teams leave in the next 5-6 years.
It makes sense because even if you have a homegrown player who becomes a star, the dude's gone. Ohio State or Bama, Texas comes in calling, and he's history.
Hey, what happens if 12 teams decide to leave and the NDL's full? You got to sit out.
That would be hilarious,
Hey.
right?
We could have the lower division of college football could get a huge boost if stuff like that happens. It could be far more interesting.
No,
Yeah.
we
And I
we
mean,
always
it
talk
could be
about
great for the
farm.
fans in the end.
The
Can
farm
you
is
imagine
back.
getting
We live on the farm.
fired from Alabama, and not having very many points? Next thing you know, you're in the farm.
You're relegated, like in soccer.
Right.
Oh, I love it.
You're
Love that
playing
idea.
you don't get to play in the NDL games. You got to play Beefy Cup games.
Yeah.
Oh.
All of us 3 clickers are relegated. We're out.
Yeah. Yeah, but it is an interesting thing to think about though, because let's just say in 5 years they expand the playoff to be kind of match FCS. They just expand it to 32. Is that those teams aren't looking to win a national championship. Those teams are looking to make the playoffs, right? Because then you get the revenue sharing for the bowl game. Every round is a bowl game, and that's a large amount of money, right? Like Miami, I someone in the chat would probably know Miami made it like $50 million because the ACC allowed them to keep all the money from each round that they got, and it was like $50 million. That's a lot of money for any program. It doesn't matter how much money you're bringing in, and so a team like Appalachian State may never win a national championship, but they may win their conference. And so if you have a round of 32, every conference is getting a winner in, and so you do start changing things like that.
And in the chat now, they're talking about the money thing. But here's the deal: in case you're not following, the Big Ten and the SEC and the ACC and those guys, they're going to eventually push those little guys out. By the way, it's coming to where they're not going to get as big of a piece of pie as they're getting even right now. And I'm just not so sure it's going to be financially feasible. I mean, there's a lot of things in there, right? It's a business thing. It has nothing to do with football at the end of the day. Is why they wouldn't do it. But it's a mess, man, and that's the money game that those small schools are going to have a hard time with for sure.
Yeah, wasn't it like the Big Ten was talking about leaving the NCAA? They were talking about leaving the NCAA. Like, I think it was the Big Ten, and maybe the Big 12. It was one of those two conferences was talking about just leaving the NCAA.
And what you have to remember is the CFP is not even owned by the NCAA. The NCAA has nothing to do with the CFP, right? It's an ESPN thing only in its own private deal. So they eventually. That's why. Listen, we can talk about antitrust and all that kind of stuff, and could they leave the little guys out? I don't know, but it's a crazy thing. I could see it happening though, Pat. It's a good thought.
Yeah, so we'll get back into the NDL here a little bit. I know we were talking about it, a hot topic kind of coming up here is we'll just talk about like who do you think, Jeremy, we'll start with you. Who's had the most disappointing start to the season right now? I know very minimal amount of sample size here, but you're getting a pretty good sample size out of conference, so we get some of that matchups with conference play, conference versus conference. But who would you say has probably had the most disappointing start?
Yeah, and that's really tough because I think because we don't really know. I will think that man, looking at the Big 12, like Jordan at Baylor starting 0-3 without looking at his schedule too deep. I know that Jordan's a guy that came over from he was at South Florida last season, I believe.
Mhm.
Hughes, obviously, who had a great year at Temple last year at Michigan State, starting out
Oh, and 2.
0-2. And then in the SEC, man, not a disappointing start necessarily completely, but man, Tennessee and Vegas had a great first block, and then it not a great block two. And so I don't know. It's hard. You're right to kind of look at the whole thing, but I would say those three kind of stand out to me right away.
What about you, Pat?
Yeah, he touched on some good ones. I was pretty high on Jaguars, Kansas State, but he does go out and play. Schedule tough, so 1-2 start. And then other than that, I don't know. It's tough. It's tough to say because it's so early, and it's kind of interesting. The more you play these games, you're like, hey, I could lose a non-conference game, and it actually doesn't sting that bad. So you may have a team that's 2-1 or 1-2, but maybe two of their losses are non-conference. They can still totally save their season. But you look at a team. I definitely thought a little higher of Michigan State, like Jeremy said. I definitely didn't see him losing to Cal. That was surprising, and I think it was a blowout, if memory serves correctly. And so I would choose those two the most. And then he touched on Tennessee straight out of the gate. Everyone was like, "Hey, here we go." You know what I mean? And then I think the setback to BYU was pretty shocking for sure for me. And then I already touched on it earlier because it is a conference loss. Clemson losing to Syracuse. I don't want to beat a dead horse, but that's probably the biggest shock and disappointment to me. I've had Clemson in my top 10 in every poll until this one, obviously. And even when he lost to Roke, I was like, well, shit. I mean, that's a good player, right? And so CG, but I mean, it's such a contrast in rosters and home field advantage that was a touch of that's a disappointing loss. And Swellvine now starting at 1-2 as well after the big win over Texas A&M, but obviously one of those losses being to Ohio State, so I don't want to, you can't really hammer them that bad. You know what I mean? And yeah, what do you think?
I say there's a trio of teams because they all lost to teams that honestly they should have beaten.
Hmm?
And that is going to be both Clemson, Tennessee, and Indiana. All have a loss that they should have won so far this season. So I mean, and I mean that if you're a good team with big expectations, which I'd say all three of those had, to have a loss like that right off the bat is it's it's a kick in the nuts.
Conference loss too. Brutal.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not happy about the loss we took the other day, but I mean, I know why I lost. I lost because I bought my wonderful new LSU hat and I left it at home that night. So I mean, I deserve to lose because I didn't have the mojo right. I didn't have my rhythms correct. It's a huge mistake. So I mean, tell people don't interrupt your patterns before your game. You put yourself in this situation.
Yeah. An early conference loss, I just touched on it. I didn't want to pick myself because that would be embarrassing. So thanks for bringing that up, Penguin. I don't think I've ever gone 6 for 7 on third down and 100% on fourth down in a game and lost. You just kind of invent new ways to lose sometimes, which is really frustrating. One other small disappointing team probably is Duke, right? As well. 1-3. Yes, he's talked about it in the chat that the roster is a touch overrated, but they did win 10 games last year. And his point differential is shocking. 90 points scored, 173 given up. That is not good. Yeah, that is not good.
He hasn't figured out the defense for sure. It's got some good players, but he's got some struggles for sure.
He's giving up over 40-something points a game. Not good.
Well, and you said in the ACC, there's two other teams that are 0-3 that I'm kind of shocked by now. I'm looking at it: Virginia Tech and Georgia Tech. Right? Chase is always a good coach, and he plays a tough schedule every year, right? But Chase been 0-3, and then Georgia Tech. That's a good roster, right? That I thought it's hard to kind of go 0-3 to start there. And like you said with Duke, just getting outscored big time and not scoring a bunch of points. That's tough.
You know what's tough with Tech and Maros? Maros is a big time passer. Like he loves to sling the rock. Yeah. And that quarterback, that's not his strong suit. You know what I mean? Yeah. So he's probably trying to figure that out. But yeah, again, 156 points given up. Not good.
Chip is fired up this morning, by the way.
Oh yeah, I mean he is on it in the chat.
When is he not?
He is on it in the chat. Hey, so one of my biggest disappointments is someone that we were giving a lot of praise at the very beginning of the season is Coach El Jefe in South Florida. And the reason being I say it's the biggest disappointment is that potentially, I mean, there's a lot I bet the likelihood of him making the CFP is in the low single digits now. And the reason being is he lost that game against James Madison, and that's going to be a very comparable game at the end of the season, right? Comparing, that was a play-in game for them because the loser of that game was going to have a hard time getting in over another team in the mid-major, and so I think that's probably it. He had close matchups. It's not like his schedule was weak or anything like that. He goes to Georgia and loses by a couple scores. He wins at Penn State, which at the time we were like, man, that's one of the biggest upsets in the NDL, right? Just when the comparative on the road, home field advantage, a team that doesn't have a lot of talent or anything to combat the home field advantage beats Penn State, and then goes out and loses to James Madison and then loses to Ole Miss in a game that wasn't really close. jumper just kind of scored at will on him. And so uphill climb the rest of the way. He's not going to play any more ranked opponents. Obviously, that there was a pretty high. People were pretty high on Big Mike in the conference, and that's not going to help this year. No offense, Hubbard, the conference is kind of down this year.
Still really fired up this week. Wait till next week to get him fired up, please.
But no, so that it's not that because he went out and challenged himself, and don't ever not do that, El Jefe, like that. I love that you go out and challenge yourself out of conference. That's what makes the NDL great, is being able to watch those type of matchups. But I'm just disappointed in obviously the loss to James Madison. Coach Glizzy's great, but I mean you could potentially say his season is done when he come to the CFP. Now he's just looking for a bowl game.
He needed to get out of block 2 at 3-1. If he'd gotten out of block 2 at 3-1, which whatever combination, he'd have a really good chance for a playoff bid. But it's a tall order, but it didn't happen, unfortunately.
But Chip brings up a good point. If you want to make the CFP as a G5, you don't need to do that challenge thing, right? Especially if you can't get out of it like that. There's no reason to. He could have played a softer schedule, went 12-0, and he probably would have been in just on reputation alone, right? I mean,
so the shell route, you mean?
That's P4
As a 10,
right?
as a 10-win goal team, I'm never going to comment again on the soft schedule. I get it a little bit now. But his rival, one of them being Oregon State, again, I can't talk because I have Purdue on the schedule, so no comment on the shell route. I feel bad now for ripping the schedule for all these years now that I have a 10-win goal because I'm not going to get it.
No, but I think the CFP did a really good job last year. The CFP committee did a really good job stating that you will be rewarded if you challenge yourself out of conference and it's close, right? And so I think what happens is you don't give yourself any leeway if you end up losing a game. Like there was talks last season about Oregon not making the CFP. We're coming down the stretch, right? Like we were like, if he loses one more game, he's in trouble because of the upset at Minnesota. And so when you don't challenge yourself out of conference, you really you don't leave much leeway in conference to lose definitely to a non-ranked opponent. And so it'll be really interesting. Obviously, there's other teams that are like that, right? We have other teams that don't challenge themselves out of conference, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's just you just don't leave yourself much leeway if you end up losing.
Big Ten was tougher last year, though. I mean, I hate to say it out loud, it's in the conference, but it was a very good share for sure.
Just means more in the SEC, right?
Yes, it does. Yes, it does.
Yeah, so we'll I guess we'll talk about some of the NDL happenings this week, right? We saw a new rule come out. It's a rule that we've talked about on the show a lot. The rule with the 35-point rule, and we saw the last 2 weeks that rule had been broken. Yeah,
I can't wait to discuss it.
Yeah, so what are your guys' thoughts on the 34-point rule and the rule change, right? The NDL admin came out with a rule change surrounding the 35-point rule. Basically, now it's back to the old way. If you break the rule at any point, you're gone. 35-point rule. They got rid of kind of the language that says you may or may not be. And what do you guys think about that?
Why the rule just keeps getting rewritten and nothing really ever happens. I would like to say this because I didn't ask it in the live chat. We punished AU Tiger when this happened, that he didn't score intently and got players suspended, and then obviously the Oklahoma opponent clearly did not try to score and did not get people suspended, and that wasn't addressed in the announcement. And that's the part that is just baffling to me. I don't understand it. It's just the inconsistencies that just continue to rear their ugly head around here. And so, yeah, they're going to rewrite it. It's one of those I'll believe it till I see it type things. I mean, how many times you have to rewrite the thing before you actually pound the sand in it? You know what I mean, Tim? So I just, I'll believe it when I see it. And it's not hard to not go over 35. I don't give a shit if your wife, your kids are all standing right there. Start counting on your fingers and toes, dude. Get a grip.
Yeah.
and I
Play with your shoes off so you have enough digits to make it easier to count if you must. I mean,
so
you know.
we do have Nidler in the chat, and I was gonna bring this up in a little bit here. Is I did obviously I'm not allowed to type in the live chat. I still every once in a while see what's going on in there. But Nidler did write in the chat after that's his biggest mistake being the commissioner of the NDL is that he allowed that rule to get changed. And for me, seeing them change the rule and stuff, I told you guys the same thing. As I thought they hit it out of the park. Right? We critiqued them pretty hard going back to the Jiggy and Tiger thing. Right? We didn't. None of us felt like that was handled properly. For our opinion, right? But I really
There's
feel
only
like they
two
hit.
people that thought it was handled properly.
I
Only two people.
I really think that they hit it out of the park here, though. I think they addressed what the room, like they read the room, right? They read the room and they understood that rule. It's not about the rule and the 35 points. The points have nothing to do with it. That's been said a million times. The points have nothing to do with it. It's more of just the core of what the NDL is about. And obviously the people that don't like, we had a guy, I don't even remember who he was. He was running up the score in the live chat. Like, what was it, 10 days ago? Remember, he's scored like 50 points.
yeah.
He just kept scoring, and he thought we were joking when we are like, dude, chill. And I mean, this guy I don't think he even won a game last year. He had like 8, and so for me, I thought that they did a great job rewriting the rule, and they really understood what that rule is about. And Nidler's in the live chat even saying that he takes full responsibility for that rule changing and stuff like that. Well, Penguin, what are your thoughts? And then we'll get to you, Hubbard, being a newer guy, coming back.
I think you both made valid points on there that inconsistencies are maddening, but also at the same time, I think, Tim, you nailed it, that the way it was handled this time made a lot of sense. Sure, there are parts of it that the Oklahoma opponent did that blows my freaking mind. But at the same time, I think the response by the admin team was correct this time. I hope we don't see the rule changed again. I hope we stay consistent because there was a time where this was, a sacred thing. So to have seen controversies surround it multiple times now, I mean, I know the league is changing and evolving or whatnot over the years because it's an inevitable thing. But I mean, man, just as someone who's been here since season 1, it just kind of breaks my brain for this to have been a point of controversy multiple times. Even as someone who doesn't love the 35 number, I still, look at it like this is an unreproachable thing. If I broke it tomorrow, I would have no argument to make, nothing to say other than I'm sorry, and I would expect to be removed. That's,
Yeah,
that's just how I see it.
Obviously, back in the day when we had the living farm, right? Like the farm obviously that would be a great place for those type of people to go. Someone that is remorseful, is like, shit, man, I haven't done anything wrong. I'm sorry. Something happened. I wasn't paying attention, right? Whatever it is, but that's like, hey, okay, go down to the farm and wait until your turn. But it is what it is.
Well, why
Obviously,
don't, like you said, why aren't we? Hey, I don't like seeing people get removed. Like seriously, it's one of the things because it's hard to.
Depends on the person.
Sure, but here's the deal: the guy gets 2 players suspended. That same punishment is dropping 2 D linemen into 2 D linemen. Like you got to lay the damn thing down a little harder, strap. Like you've got to do
one thing. I want to throw in there and say that I mean, I have mentioned, and I believe the powers that be are consider, is that such type of violation could maybe, just maybe in the future, impact the results of the game. I think that would make a huge difference. Because think about it, you're a great player and, you break a rule, and if that would result in a loss, that's a whole hell of a lot more impactful, at least in my mind, than losing a few players. Because you take a couple players away from a great great user. Well, guess what? They're still a great user, and they're still going to do really good things with the backups as well. So it's not much of an impact to a really good player. That's just my opinion. I mean, I know they'll debate and talk about it. That's a change I would love to see in the future because I think that would have some real teeth. Because I mean, if you're a title contender taking a loss in a game you should have won, I mean, shoot. Now you're not just affecting draft position. You know that affects your ability to win a championship. Which I mean, that's if you're a top guy, that's what you're after, not draft position. You're looking to win a title.
I just want to clarify some things. We have some chat going on in the live chat. Is that Henry didn't break the rule as it was written, right? It had already been talked about. You know, Nidler had already addressed it. Is that he didn't break it as it was written, but he broke the spirit of the rule, right? The spirit of the rule was don't go up by more than 35. The way the rule was written was don't win by more than 35. And obviously that's been changed now is that like if you go up by more than 35, you're removed from the league. And so there is some clarification, but
kicking guys in the fourth quarter up by 34 points.
no, and I'm not defending Henry, okay, but I love Henry. We've all met him at the convention and stuff like that. Great guy. He owned up right away in the chat. He owned up right away in the chat, said, "Hey, no excuses. I know what the rule was written, but I still broke it." And so hats off to him, right? He handled it correctly. He's like, "Hey, I'm a dink, sorry." And everything like that. And so I thought him and Cross did a great job interacting with each other. Neither of them were screaming at each other, anything like that. They were both high character guys and stuff like that. And so at the end of the day, we all agreed that it was all handled correctly. Jeremy, what were your thoughts on the 35-point rule in general? I mean, you've been on this other side of it pretty close. And so you'd be able to.
Yeah, well, let me say a couple things. First off, Penguin, you mentioned about the players being gone and a good user. Forget about a good user. A good roster can take that, right? If you suspend two players from Oklahoma, it doesn't hurt him as much. You suspend two players from Western Michigan, it kills them. They have no shot, right? So it's all kind of relative when you take two of the best players away. Here's what I'm going to say about the 35-point rule. And listen, I like to think that most guys like me here. I'm probably about to make some enemies, and that's okay. Here's the thing. When I came in here 3 seasons ago, here's what the rule was. The absolute rule you cannot break is beating somebody by 35. Period. If you do it, you're gone. And everybody I talked to, when I first came in, I talked to Pat multiple times. I talked to Chip. I talked to a bunch of guys, and they said, look, just don't break the 35-point rule. Okay, cool. I'm never going to beat somebody by 35. And quite honestly, I've been in some games where I've won by 21 or 24, and I start kind of getting nervous, right? Like, but it's not because I'm going to beat him by 35. It's because of the respect thing, right? Like, I know what it's like to be beat that bad. And so just don't, I don't want to do that. Okay. Number one. But number two is this. There's no, listen, I love Jiggy. I love Henry, right? Never had a problem with either one of them. But Jiggy just said this: accidents happen. No, they don't. No, they don't. You don't accidentally beat somebody by that. That's not the truth. You don't accidentally go over 35. Period. And if you can't win a game by 35, why in the hell are you going up by 37 in the game in the first place? Like it doesn't make sense to me. Like forget about the way the rule's written. Forget about any of that stuff. I'm not placing blame on Nidler. Like whatever. Nidler. It's not Nidler's fault that somebody went up by 37. And I'm with Pat. You don't accidentally go up by 30 over 135. I'm sorry. And the issue is the gameplay at that point when he was up by 37. I'm with Pat on this. The hit sticking, the play calling and stuff like that. Like I get it. Like you're a good player, but it's just unacceptable. And I'm sorry, but I'm with Pat. Getting two players suspended is not enough. Take them, make them draft last, or suspend them for the rest of the year. Something. It's got to happen. Okay. And it to me, it's just a respect thing. And what happened, we can say that the way Cross handled it was right. Cross handled it right in public. Okay, he handled it right in public. That doesn't mean he's not upset about it, and I think that can't go understated. I think that what's Cross going to do? Going to come in the chat and yell and scream about it? I mean, you see what happened wasn't enough. So I'm just going to say that in any situation, if you go up by 35, regardless of the way the rule's written, there should be a harsh punishment. Maybe it's gone, maybe it's whatever it is, but it's not acceptable.
Yeah, and I know we've talked in the past, even prior to this week, and even prior to this rule change, we've talked in the past, and obviously brainstormed kind of some different types of punishment for rule breaks. And one of the things we talked about is that I think it would be within reason that if you break a rule during the game and it's not settled between the two coaches, right? Like the admin has to step in and make an announcement. I think that game should be flipped. Me and Pat play each other. Pat breaks the rule. We don't fix it during the game. Indiana gets the loss 10-0, right? You could make it a weird, odd score that normally we don't see in the NDL. 10-0, right? And then you give them the loss and they don't get anything from that game. You can suspend them. You could automatically kick them to the draft the next year. I mean, it's the rules are kind of like how you, at least to me, how I view like children, right? Is like they'll always do what's expected of them, right? And so, like, just to me, I think that would be more fun. Kick them to the wayside. A little bit more punishment. I mean, it's an ongoing running joke in the league right now that the only way you win a championship is if you have some type of rule break, right? And that's horrible when you really think about it. That's horrible. And so, and obviously, I don't think everyone that wins is out there just to try to break the rules, right? Like, but a lot of these rules that are broken aren't weird rules. It's the same rules over and over, like the 4th down rule. I can't imagine that that's probably not the biggest complaint admin get, that Shell and Rain aren't dealing with this, people breaking the 4th down rule. Which, I mean, there's been lots of talk about just going back to how it used to be because it was really easy. Now it's I mean, it's not super complicated, but it's definitely different every season. It seems like we kind of change it and tweak it. But anyways, I mean, obviously, we get a good live look at Penguin's different flannel selection for this week. He's got Monday red, Tuesday brown, Wednesday
Oh,
gray.
from the convention. That's what I want to know.
The
Those
over.
things are fat out.
The old his wife must have called him. Whenever we
No,
do
he
the
still has
show,
internet.
yeah,
still has
right.
internet.
I think the goats broke the gate down. Is what happened.
Hubbard, one of the very first game days we ever did. Man, this was probably back in season 29. We're all having, this was probably our second show in, and all of a sudden, we hear, I don't remember if it was like Penguin's wife or something saying something. Then all of a sudden, his internet just goes out, and so the running joke was that his wife cut his internet.
Goat was eating the cord or something. I don't know.
Man, Penguin, I remember some of those game days we didn't go on camera. Is you were one of them, you were outside in the pens, like doing work because we could hear the animals, we could hear you. Though that would have been a great Smitty movement, like just live feed of you working out there, shoveling shit and moving straw.
I'll have to do that again at some point.
Be like one of those annoying female influencers on Instagram. A lot of you have been asking what I do. No one asks. Get out there, Penguin. Let's see you throw some slop into the pig pen.
I actually don't. That is the only animal I refuse to care for because
you're going to eat them later.
Well, frankly, yeah, because I've interacted with pigs before, and pigs are fantastic. It's the precedent has been set for me. If I interact with pigs, I will name them, and they will be kept as pets. They're really charming animals to hang out with. So that's the line I draw. If they want to raise the pigs and they want to slaughter them, then that's on my mother-in-law to handle, and she can do that. I will not help with the pigs. Every other animal, I'll help.
Alpacas or whatever?
We don't have the alpacas yet.
Okay.
But we'll have the first round of fences go up in the next month, and we'll be increasing the number of rabbits we have as well, building some new hutches over there. So I don't know where alpacas go, but actually, and part of the reason we won't have alpacas, I might have a different announcement. It's not official yet, so I'm not going to make it here publicly. But in the coming weeks, we may have another big life change coming. If once that becomes official.
Congratulations, Miss Penguin.
You know what? In reality, there is a chance I might become a house husband in the near future. And if that is the case, then I will happily work with the animals. I mean, I already do the laundry and the dishes. I mean, so be it. I guess I'll be shopping for aprons if it comes to it.
I mean, on his free OnlyFans, can we get him out there just working with the goats and the alpacas? That's what we need. Like, we already pay for the good stuff, but on the free side, can we at least get the farm work?
Like Big Brother cameras.
I'll see what I can do
On the farm.
I'll see what I can do. Yep. So is that with apron only or overalls on?
Overalls, please.
Okay.
That was quick. The assless chest.
I like what I like.
Eh,
Man,
uh,
we so we'll get back to a little bit of NDL talk here. We'll get back into some
little
matchups
bit
here. I
of it.
know we talked about it. Yeah, I don't want to get off the rails too far here. We're getting talking about Penguin outside working with no clothes on. We will
It's
talk
only
about some
goat fade.
yeah. We'll talk about some matchups in the NDL coming up here in Block 3 that maybe they aren't the game of the weeks and stuff like that. And so these matchups are ones that you're just kind of looking forward to. Obviously, this year for the game of the weeks in the NDL, we've tried to branch out and not have repeat people on there every week. And so there obviously are some really big matchups that aren't listed on the website. And so we'll start with you, Pat. What is a big matchup you're looking forward to here in Block 3?
Games of the week? It's a good question, Tim. Look, I want to see if this Vanderbilt team is for real. So I need to see him play in Alabama, at Alabama. He's got Pavia, which I'm pretty sure the home field advantage doesn't affect him, and he's probably one of the guys I've scrimmaged the most. And I know that he's in a game of the week with SDSU, but he could really shake the SEC up with an upset win. And I'm curious to see how he attacks the matchup with Rain. Rain, great play caller on offense and takes care of the ball. And I think that game's going to come down to the wire. I really do. I think finesse will slow the game down. And that's kind of a X's and O's game that I'm looking forward to watching for sure.
What about you, Penguin? What's a big matchup you're looking forward to?
well, I gotta jump into Syracuse, heading to go play the SMU Mustangs. CG had a big win, as we all know, against Clemson the previous block. And once again, he's going to be a road warrior going on to play Steam and SMU. I mean, this is going to be an absolutely challenging environment, just like Clemson was. And I mean, but if he can pull this one off, all of a sudden you just got to wonder what is the ceiling for SMU. But I mean, also just a little rabbit trail off that a bit. Talk about a tough road schedule. This guy will go to Clemson, to SMU, to Miami, to Notre Dame. All road games this year. What a tough schedule. But I mean, I don't know. If they pull off this SMU game, all of a sudden you gotta start talking about Cuse and giving him some attention.
Yeah,
Choice Penguin.
that is a good one. That was one of the ones I had highlighted. Just a couple other ones. I know Jeremy's going to talk a little bit about the SEC being the SEC commissioner here. And so I do have a couple other ones. Obviously, the Indiana-Iowa game is a big one because I think that that's kind of like a CFP play out where it'll be really tough to kind of get back into it, as well as I think about the San Jose State at Stanford. I think that could be a pretty big game here, mainly because San Jose State, this will kind of be their big signature out of conference thing, and he's trying to boost up that Mountain West. This could help Boise as well as Hawaii here with this win. And so those are kind of the matchups I'm looking forward to. And then obviously there's a ton in the SEC that I think have a lot of playoff implications here. Hubbard, you can go ahead and talk about some of those matchups coming up.
Yeah, the SEC has some good ones. Sorry, trying to respond here in the live, but one that I'm looking forward to, we were talking about off the air, is Iowa and Tennessee. I know that they both had, Iowa's 2-1 now, Tennessee's 2-2, but that's a really big matchup out of conference between those two coaches that are both going to have a really good year. Look at the rest of the SEC schedule. LSU, Penguin has a non-conference matchup with USC. That's a good roster. That could be a fun game as well. Pat mentioned Vandy and Alabama. I think is a really good one. Looking at some other ones, Auburn at A&M can play well in that game on the road. Let's see. Trying to find my list here again that we talked about. Sorry about that. LSU at Ole Miss, Texas at Florida. We talked about Florida earlier in the year. Can he get things going against Jiggy? The book says that he has no shot, right? The book says that it's 14.5, I think is what we saw. So there's a bunch of good matchups in the SEC they're looking forward to this week as well. Iowa's got a big block, right? Indiana and Tennessee this block. That'll be fun.
I think San Jose State and Stanford is another one. You've got it's a rivalry game, points, I'm pretty sure, for contract reasons. But Jet dismantled Maryland in a cup game last night. I think he 35'd them. So got that team rolling after a close win over Cincinnati. And then obviously Jokers can play some ball, and San Jose State has some decent athletes on the team. So that'll be a good one.
Yeah, and you Georgia Southern, James Madison, right? That could potentially be like one of those. That's going to be a tough game for James Madison, and so that's an interesting one. Another one I give a shout out to is Texas State, Arkansas State. It's another both 2-1 coaches that are looking to have a pretty good season here, and so that's another good matchup that at least I'm looking forward to watching. Really starting to. We still have some matchups back in block 1 and 2 that haven't been played. Pat already talked about it. The Texas Tech game in Utah, obviously a big matchup for the Big 12 there. I don't. Did any of you guys last night watch the Wyoming game last night?
I heard all about it, but I didn't get to catch it.
Oh
Yeah,
man,
I just saw somebody talk about it afterwards. That's crazy.
yeah, I think they went into. I think it was like 17 overtimes, and it was the most bizarre thing happened too. Like it wasn't like just so straightforward every single one. Like some bizarre thing would happen to one team, and then the next go around something bizarre would happen to them to be able to get there. But man, probably one of the most exciting games I've ever watched. They haven't updated the score. I see that they haven't put in their stats or the score or anything like that. I don't know I can't remember what the final score ended up being last night for that game. I'm sure someone in the live chat will have known what that was. But man, that was probably one of the top 3 games I've ever seen in the NDL at least. And I didn't catch the whole game. I ended up getting on towards the end. And what a bad game for me to not be able to type in the live chat too. Just because of how awesome the game was and stuff, being able to interject with the coaches and stuff talking about that game. I know that there you go, it's 60-58, and it was 35-35 going into the first overtime, and I think it was a crazy amount of overtimes they went into. And the whole time I'm watching it, the only thing I could think of was hopefully it doesn't glitch out. I think someone had mentioned the last video game. Sometimes when you'd go into overtime, it'd allow one team you'd line up and kick the field goal, the PAT, and you'd win, even in like the 5th overtime. And then the other team has to go for 2, but you would just automatically lose. And so I was like, man, that would hurt. But 2 great coaches, obviously going at it. And so pretty exciting. I'm excited to watch the matchup between the brothers, right? I don't think they played that game yet unless it just didn't get entered, but Penguin, what are you working on? Just reading a book?
No, sending the wife a message. She's got an
He's
event
always
going on at the bookstore right now with an author.
Oh, okay.
This guy is on AIM
Yep.
Messenger, just messaging his wife all show long.
AIM Messenger.
I'll tell you all later. There's a lot going on right now. There's a lot happening.
Number 1 stunner 69 is sending a message to his wife.
What was your AOL AIM name, Pat?
Taxi D22.
What was yours, Penguin?
It's embarrassing. It's my mother's nickname for me.
Mine was FSU Penguin 21 because I came up with it in like 5 minutes for whatever. The origin story for anyone hasn't heard it. For some godforsaken reason, in zoos and places we went to as a small child, I thought penguins were fascinating, and I had a little collection of like miniature penguins and stuff
That's
there.
cute.
And it came time to play online, and I was trying to think of a name that wasn't too provocative or be embarrassed that my mother wouldn't be upset about. I just grabbed my favorite sports team and an animal and threw them together.
golly. First off, I'm starting to question how old. I mean, I feel like we're all close to the same age, but you guys must be way older because that's how we used to have to flirt, man. Like that was text messaging back then, right? Like
Oh
thinking
yeah.
The
about
original DM.
yeah, literally. You would sit in front of your dial-up computer and just waiting on the door to open. And most of the time it would open and shut right back because the internet sucked, right? Everybody had dial-up or whatever. So that sucked. No, I don't even know what mine was. I was like 16 or 17, so there's no telling what it
There's
was.
a 69 in there somewhere for sure.
Well,
Nah,
I mean,
nah,
how old are you, Hubbard?
right now
Big
I'm
J
42.
69.
42.
Okay, so I'll be 45 this year, so we're not that different. Yeah.
Okay,
You're an 02 graduate,
oh
Hubbard?
one, oh one.
I'm an 02 guy.
I'm a
Oh,
2000 guy. Mine was T-Rod in DC, and that was DC was our clan.
Who's DC? Oh, gotcha.
It was T-Rod in DC, and my nickname in high school was Roddy, like Roddy Piper, the wrestler. They just called me that, and so it was T-Rod in DC. And DC was our Dead Cell clan, right? Like the Metal Gear Solid, and then that's where Liquid Snake eventually came, and then it was abbreviated to Lick. That was like my whole gamer tag for my whole life. But man, AOL was it. I remember I may have told this story. I remember man, I was super young, and when I got SOCOM 2 for Christmas, and I was back in Seattle visiting my mom for Christmas, and every morning she'd get up in the morning before work at like 5 a.m. with her fingernails just slamming away at the keyboard in AOL chats, and she'd just be giggling and stuff. And she like back then she'd have these like weird AOL like local chats, right? Like it'd be like people in Seattle, and we'd literally have to go to barbecues with all these weird people, and they're like the weirdest people ever.
yeah.
So
Says the group of people who's going to meet up in Nashville with a bunch of people they met online playing a video
Hey
game.
now.
I'm just
Hey, remember? I remember I'd fire off like a DM to a girl in school, and then when you remember that iconic reply sound on AIM, dude?
Yeah. Oh man.
So we're talking about it being weird to meet random people. So you guys may have saw on the live. I went to the Stars game Thursday night and met RB, right? And so I met up with RB. I texted my wife after and said, "Hey," I said, "I just met up with one of the NDL guys," and she goes, "Really?" And it's like I was the weirdo. Like it's like I met him in a public place. It wasn't like we met in some dark alley somewhere. But
A hotel room, obviously, is what she was saying.
Isn't it
Did you
weird
bring your
though? Because
controllers with you?
if you went to the bar, Hubbard, if you went to like some sports bar and met a bunch of like fans, right, a bunch of Dallas Star fans or something like that, and you took a picture and you're like, "Hey, wife, I met a bunch of friends," she'd be like, "Cool," but then you go meet someone that you've
Right.
talked to for the last year, and that's like the weirdest thing ever.
Yeah. She was like, "Really?" I was like, "What do you mean, really?" Yeah, like, of course I did. I don't know. It was weird. But RB, not
I mean, that's the whole reason we do the cameras here, because otherwise, you don't want to show up in Nashville and expect Chris Hansen to be showing up, you know.
He probably should though, by the way, because Big Red did say in the chat. Big Red said he was born in 03, so we were all like, I was 20 in 03, and we're hanging out together. That's kind of weird.
Oh, good lord. Yeah.
Yeah.
So my oldest is older than him then. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, El Jefe and Kent are what, like 17, and then we're just, I don't know. Man.
It is funny though that
Second
like
thought, we need to rethink this.
when I refer to people, so Chris is about one of the only guys that I actually call him by his real name, and that's because my wife's met him because Penguin stayed at our house on the way to the convention in Dallas, and so he's met a couple of the kids, and then and so when I say Chris, she knows who I'm talking about. But all the other people in the league, I usually use their gamer tag so I don't confuse her, right? Because if I start spitting out real names, she's gonna get super confused. She'll be like, "Who is that?" But she knows it's like some weird name. She's like, "Oh yeah, okay." And so like Rain talks about in the chat is that it took his wife 10 years to be able to get used to like the NDL being a part of like a normal life for him. And so just interesting. Yeah, like CG.
You know, I have no idea what Wild's real name is, and I spent a whole weekend with him. I have no idea that guy's first name.
Holy crap! I realized no idea. No idea.
We just called him Wilds all week.
I just know he owns like 50 or runs 50 dominoes, and he likes to party, man.
I don't know Black Rain's
Oh,
fucking
yeah.
name. Just called him Rain.
I know I heard it, but I can't remember it off the top of my head. Yeah.
Yeah. Wilds, what is your name?
That would be like a good trivia game. That would be like a good trivia game. Tim. To have everybody
Yes.
real name, and then you try to guess like what is EG's real name, or what is Tuddy's real name, and just see if you can figure it out. I don't know.
See, people know my
that's
name
awesome.
really quick because ain't no one likes saying lick, right? No one says like a lick. They don't like saying that very often, and so they like to learn my name pretty quick.
Danny Wilds, Pat. Danny.
Yeah, Dan. His name's Danny.
Yeah, Danny.
I like Wilds better. I'm still going to call him Wild. All right.
Oh, I like it.
Man, I'm excited.
So,
Jeremy, are you going to come to the
dream, Hubbard?
Hubbard? Are you going to come to the convention?
That's a good wrestler name.
Yeah, I need to for sure.
You should just drive over here 4 hours and then carpool up to Nashville with us.
Yeah, Nashville is really not far. I mean, I've driven through there. I used to work in West Virginia. We drive back and forth. It's only about 8 hours for me. It's not terrible.
Yeah, I think it's actually faster if you just drive the whole way because then you go all the way above. You go through like Arkansas and stuff.
What did your wife say, Tim, when you mentioned bare ass?
Yeah, she thought that. Because I was talking to her about those like war games thing, and she was not. She like had zero interest in what I was talking about with war games, like getting started back up. And I was like, man, our team name is Bare Ass, and the image is so funny. It's a bunch of bare asses with microphones. And she's like, where did you guys come up with that name? And I was like, no, like one of the guys on our team, his gamer tag is Bare Ass, and she did not think it's like immaturely funny as I do, but she was like, why would someone want that? Like, don't kids see that? That's what she said.
Yeah, literally. I'm on a team with a kid, and our team is Hefe Epstein. So what? I mean, that seems way inappropriate. By the way, there are games in the NDL this week.
Yeah, there are. There are games in the NDL this week.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess we can jump into that. The games of the week in the
There's the reason
NDL
we're
here.
Danny Domino. Wilds is right. His gamer tag definitely should be Danny Domino. That's true.
Wilds, it's not too late to change it.
Double D.
Slick.
So where were we?
Yeah, just catching up in the live chat.
Penguins bare ass and an apron out in the goat field.
Oh man, I'm jealous I can't see the chat. And then when I watch the show back, it says the chat replay is disabled, and I don't know how to fix it. Makes me hard.
We all know Pat. When's your birthday?
February 2nd.
Oh, we missed it, man. We're all gonna.
Yeah,
that's what
I kept that shit quiet for a reason.
Once you're past 25, you don't celebrate anymore.
Oh, unless you're a girl like RB. Hey, it's my birthday, by the way. Just wanted to point that out.
It's his birthday month, right? Isn't that like what they do? They celebrate the whole month.
I told you what RB said to you on Thursday night, Pat. That you just earned it.
Yeah, absolutely. Whatever.
Yeah.
Ready to jump into game?
Yeah, let's jump into it. Let's jump into the games of the week here in the NDL season 35 block 3.
Well, our first game of the week will be the Oregon Ducks finally facing some real competition, heading to face Penn State, the NC Lions, who Penn State's already had some challenges this year. They had a tough loss to South Florida. They beat BYU on the road, which is looking pretty good now since after BYU took out Tennessee. Oregon to this point has basically beat the hell out of 4 inferior opponents along the way. No disrespect to those guys, but a lot of bad mismatches. So this is the first time this season that we'll see the Ducks facing somebody that can hang with them potentially. But this game, even though it's on the road at Happy Valley, it appears, I think that Ducks speed is on a next level. That Penn State roster is good, but I think Oregon takes this one by 10 points.
Yeah, give me Oregon.
Yeah, I just think that the Ducks are a little too much here. Penn State, that home loss to South Florida scares me a little bit. I'll go with the Ducks also.
Yeah, this is one of those ones for Penn State that obviously you hate to say must win games this early in the season, definitely when some teams are still playing out of conference games. But this is definitely a game that Penn State has to win. I just don't, man, watching him play this season, and maybe he's figured it out now, but obviously a big tough loss to El Jefe. And I don't think Penn State has enough weapons to win here.
Log likes Oregon as well. I like that. Who is that? Is that you, Penguin?
Probably.
Doesn't matter. Next on the slate, we have the University of Virginia Cavaliers traveling to the Louisville Cardinals. Two coaches that have put up some impressive games this year, but also have taken some head scratchers as well. As Big Red pointed out in the chat, a lot of people had faded him in the NDL book and had Louisville in the points, and Big Red went out and took care of business. I think Virginia comes back down to earth here and give me Louisville with that running back. I believe his name is Isaac Brown. He'll pound the rock here and get a 10-point victory over the visiting Cavaliers. Tim, you're so immature. I see that smirk when I say pound the rock, you little
Every
nasty
time
boy.
I'm just think like,
What do you think, Jeremy?
Yeah, somebody, I guess it was the Outliers last week, even though Vic Tim is not at Virginia, they mentioned him and how he always wins one against or against somebody maybe he shouldn't. This could be that game, right? This could be a potential game where he could steal one. Louisville had that win over A&M, and then it's kind of gone downhill since then. I'm with you though. I think being at home, I think his roster is really good. I think Swolbein is a good coach, even though the record right now is not great. I'm going to go with Louisville as well.
yeah, man, I really want to cheer for Virginia here, and mainly, obviously, the hype up video that we saw before the draft, right? Virginia not making the bowl game, and they're a pretty good team when you look at the offense and defense rating wise. Obviously, I've never played with them, but I think every time, man, Swovian played really well last year, right? We were kind of high on him at the beginning of the season. He was favored to finish towards the top of the ACC, and in a slow start for him this year at Louisville. I'm not sure if it's just because he's not getting the ball enough. Obviously, their best player in their team, one of the best players in the conference. He did have a tough go. I mean, he wins against Texas A&M, right? That's a big win. Texas A&M, the SEC. The SEC had a really rough week one, and then he goes out and loses big to Ohio State. Then he loses to Missouri. And he's obviously got two big games here against Pitt and Virginia. I think he wins. I think he gets back to, I think the home field is going to help him a little bit. I'm sure it's not crazy amount, but it is going to help him a little bit. And I have him winning. I think it's going to be a really close game, though.
I think we're probably giving Louisville a little too much shit, frankly, because that win at Texas A&M is a big win. Going to Ohio State, I think everyone in the past two seasons has lost that game, to be honest. And then at Missouri, Missouri is actually a better roster than Louisville. And they've got a good defense, good offense, and that game was at the road. So the favored team won in that game. Saying that, I think Louisville is still that team that beat A&M, and I think they actually drub Virginia here. I don't think this game is competitive.
Oh,
Yeah, I think if I went to Ohio State Penguin, I don't know if I'd get a first down, truthfully. All right. Just being honest, right? All right. So the third game here, if you like points, don't watch this one. I don't think anybody's going to score in this one. It's going to be really low scoring. Nevada and Fresno, neither one of them have a win, both 0-3. Nevada, not good on offense. Fresno, not good on defense. However, Fresno's offense is good. Nevada's good on defense, right? So it could be an interesting game. I think it's going to be low scoring. Nevada's 3 losses: Coastal Carolina, East Carolina, Memphis. Penguin hates this phrase. I think Fresno's losses are better. Washington State, Georgia Southern, Hawaii. 3 teams that 2 of them one of them is ranked. Hawaii should be, and Georgia Southern has had a good year too. So 2 great, I vets. They've been here as long as I've been here for sure. But I'm going to go with Fresno at home against Nevada in this one.
Yeah, so these matchups are a little bit tougher than our normal matchups. Definitely when we don't pick spreads and we're not taking points and stuff. Obviously, Ank's been on the show before. Ank's a longtime veteran in the NDL. I know he had left for a season, came back, and like Pat talked about, it's super unfortunate to have to take Georgia with that schedule and the caliber of player in that type of a conference and setting and stuff. I've had a chance to play Priest. Obviously, played him very close the whole game. This one was tough for me. The reason being is I think Ank is obviously very familiar with the conference in general and how a lot of those guys play. And so this one came down really to just me playing Priest before. I've played Ank in the past. I think Priest is just going to be a better passer. Ank is more of a running type of a coach. And obviously, this game is geared up for the offensive side of the ball. And if you're able to push the ball down the field, which I think Priest does, he does a great job of extending the plays down the field and pushing the ball down the field. I think he wins this by 10.
Yeah. I think a lot of what Hubbard says rings true. You've got just Fresno has faced a much tougher level of competition. And given that, I think that gives them an edge. Plus the home field, competitive, tough game. But I think Fresno's got the clear advantage and wins the game by a score or two.
Yeah, I've got stats up for both these teams. Kind of some funny one-offs here, guys. You've got Tim mentioned Nevada's for running coach. He has an old lineman with 12 pancakes. He has a D end who has 30 tackles on the year, 3 sacks. Very impressive. And then check this out on Fresno State. He has an 85% completion percentage, EJ Warner. Okay, that is high. And the funniest thing is he's attempted 77 passes on the year and completed 65 of them. And he's thrown 6 picks, which means 50% of the incompletions on his season have gone to the wrong team. So there's some interesting outliers. I do like Rayshawn Luke, the tailback at Fresno. I think he's the difference here. And I think Fresno wins at home in the Valley by 7.
Makes sense. Well, next, we have the East Carolina Pirates heading to take the Louisiana Tech. I actually have no idea what their mascot is. What is Louisiana Tech?
The Bulldog.
Bulldogs.
Can you name their most famous alum?
Terry Bradshaw, I believe.
Very nice.
But actually, that's debatable. Phil Robertson of Duck Dynasty might arguably be more famous. So, but then technically he didn't graduate.
I think Vic is actually. I think Vic went to Louisiana Tech. Maybe he didn't go there. Maybe he lived around there. But
if you're the backup, you can't be more famous than the starter. Oh yeah, Karl Malone. That's where he started his rampage on the ladies.
He still lives there. He lives out there in Ruston. Yeah. Karl Malone.
He's junior highlights for the babes for sure.
Yeah, he does.
Hey, Teresa Witherspoon. She's from Louisiana Tech, right? Probably one of the better basketball players of all time in women's basketball, anyways.
Well, anyway, matchup wise, this is going to be one of the best dressed contests of the week because those fantastic purple uniforms at ECU. Louisiana Tech's got that red and baby blue option there. I went back and forth on this one, but in the end, I just felt like purple was the better color this week. And for that reason, even though they're on the road, I see ECU winning this game by a score.
So we have easily my favorite NDLer of all time, coaching the ECU Pirates, Keg Raider. Great guy. My first ever NDL opponent, Keg Raider, by the way. Fun fact, season 1, he was my first ever opponent. And it really breaks my heart to have to pick against him this week. But I strictly am picking the home team here and Coach Bear Ass. I know that we talked about, he has a great username. I just think the difference here is going to be the way Bear Ass spreads the ball around to different players on offense. And here we go with Tim, just keeping it real light. But give me the Bulldogs by 3, and I have no other reason why except they're just at home and maybe just a touch.
Yeah, so this is another one of those games where the teams match up well, where one of them's good on offense, but the other team's good on defense. It's a really good matchup. I'm with you. It was really hard to pick. ECU's two losses. One was to NC State, who's a good team. Obviously, they lost to South Alabama. Makes me wonder a little bit. But Louisiana Tech's losses, Hawaii and Southern Miss, who once again Hawaii's in the mix again. I'm with you. I like Keg Raider a lot. He was my second opponent, Pat. So we're kind of similar. Actually,
Really?
yeah, Pirate was my first, and then Keg Raider. Yeah, I started out 0-2. So I'm gonna go with I'm gonna go with East Carolina here. I'm gonna go with the Pirates on the road.
Yeah, so I obviously I think Bear Ass plays a little too tight here. And I
Whoa.
think that the old Keg is so Keg has never beat him in an NDL sanctioned game, right? He's 0-3.
Somebody
But I
clip
think
that. Somebody clip that, please.
I think this is the season here. I think that he's going to have a little too much offense for the Bulldogs here. I think this will be a great game. This will be one of those classic matchups between two great coaches in the NDL. Obviously, high quality guys too, and visiting with them. But I do think ECU is going to pull out the tight, close win.
Where did Pat go?
He knew he was up next. He was like, "I'm out of here."
Oh, there he is.
There he
Okay.
is. He's back.
Sorry, guys, I got a phone call there. Am I up? Sorry, my apologies. Triple A is on their way, by the way, in case you're wondering. Are we at Vandy and SDSU, correct? Sorry. This is
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So we have the Vanderbilt Commodores going on the road to the San Diego State Aztecs. And San Diego being, to me, the greatest city in the United States. If you've ever not been, go. That's really the only thing that they're going to be winning here today. But I will say this game will be very close. Big Z, if a lot of you haven't gotten to watch him, does the most with the least. He will slow the game down. Both coaches play at a different kind of pace. I just think that overall, and Diego Pavia with his legs is going to be the difference here. But I do think that SDSU will put a huge scare into the traveling Commodores. So give me Vandy by 4 in this one. Vanderbilt by 4.
Nah, no way. Hats off to Big Z though. This is his second SEC team out of conference. He played Arkansas as well, lost to him. Vandy is the 11th SEC team that should be ranked, and I'm just telling you, they're really good offensively. He's got a good roster. Vandy wins this game, and I'm going to say 14-21 at least.
Man, so I've had a chance to watch Big Z's games this season. I've obviously played him before. We kind of had a little rivalry going in the Mountain West. Pat said it, man. He's a good coach. He does a lot with little that he has there. He has a really good defense. Obviously, has one of the better defensive players in the whole league on the defensive line. But something that caught my eye when he played Arkansas and even Pitt is that he has a slot receiver, and I cannot think of his name, but he has a lot of speed, and he was open downfield a lot in the Arkansas game several times, and his quarterback overthrew him. And they were pivotal points in the game where he could have took the momentum and the score. I think he hits those routes against Vandy. I think he hits the big plays down the field. He loves running the ball, and I think he's going to get some of that going. This is my upset. I think, like you said, Jeremy, I think Vandy should be ranked. They're going on the road, and I think that that's where Big Z has a little bit of an advantage, is he doesn't have to worry about playing on the road with his subpar team. And I think he hits a couple big plays, and I think he ends up pulling out at the very end of the game here. And I have the Aztecs winning.
I think it definitely is a challenging matchup being on the road versus an underrated San Diego State squad. And if we were talking about this matchup, if this was, we're dealing with the mentalities of, real life and stuff, and the emotional sway of a big game versus Bama in this block as well, they would be primed for a let down or look ahead game here. But I don't think that's going to happen here. I think Vandy is it's a strong team with a coach who's understanding well how to use them, and I think they're going to come here. They're going to take care of business, and it'll be a competitive game for a half. But I think Vandy pulls away in the second half.
By the way, fun fact about SDSU built a new stadium a couple years ago, and I know I said how great the city is. It is the worst stadium on the planet to see a game in September because there is zero shade and it is hotter than shit in there. We took our football team there for like a week one game, our El Medina football team, and we left at halftime because it was 98 degrees out and it's like bleacher seating, and it is miserable in that stadium. There's literally no shade on any part. It is awful. So sorry to hate Big Z, but your home field sucks. Sorry.
Did they not build a new one recently?
They did. This is the new one.
Oh, the new one sucks.
Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong, it looks okay, but it's just like I think they've got some trees that it'll have some shade in about 30 years.
That's what they say.
Yeah,
That's what they say about like Death Valley and Baton Rouge, though, is that you don't ever go to the afternoon games there because it's 1 bajillion degrees and
no.
you sit right in the sun.
So that'll be like
And
NDL.
it smells bad.
By the time we get to NDL season 120, there'll be a little shade there. We'll also be in the Mountain West by then if we're alive, truthfully.
Yeah,
So
no
we'll play
kidding.
there. The last game, part of the Commander-in-Chief series here, Air Force at Navy. Air Force 0-2, Razorback there, hadn't got a win yet. Navy 1-1. Ice did get a win over UAB, and what we decided might be the lowest scoring game of the season so far. 14-7, I think, was the score in that game. He lost to Arkansas State. This is an interesting matchup, right? Because the styles are similar. It's a matter of, do you know how to use them the best way? Ice, if I'm not mistaken, was at Army last year, so he kind of has a history of using these type of teams. Razorback, of course, is a good coach. I'm going to go with Air Force on the road in this one. I like the roster, but that defensive line for Air Force, if you haven't looked at them, that Air Force defensive line is really, really good. And I'll go with the Falcons here.
Yeah, so obviously 2 longtime veteran coaches. I'm almost certain that Ice is a former military. I think he served in the military. That's why he uses the service academies. And so if I'm not, I think he's from the Navy. I think is where he was. He had mentioned that at some point on a game day show in the chat. These 2 coaches have played each other. Out of any coaches in the NDL, they played each other the most. Razorback holds a 6-2 record against him, 6-2. A pretty good margin of victory too, like over 50 points is is like the margin, points for, points against. I think Razorbacks got just a little bit more talent on the offensive side of the ball, and this is such a geared offense. I think this will be a low scoring game. I think this is 2 coaches that are going to slow the game down and stuff, but I would see the score here like a 24-21, 24-17 type of score here with Razorback winning.
I'd have to agree with most of that. I think Navy's got the home field. I think Air Force is a little better, and I think Razorback's a little bit better coach, and I think that'll tilt the score. We'll see between a 3 to 7 point victory here for the Air Force.
Yeah, both coaches, longtime vets. If Keg Raider is my first favorite member of the league, Razorback is close behind him as my second. He's a phenomenal conference commissioner. Jeremy, get over it, bud. And so here, I played Air Force week 1. Not only is their D line solid, but they have a good O line. They kind of pushed around the Indiana front 4 a little bit, and he had a few plays where the count, like his guys got away from time, but we were fast enough to run them down. To avoid him scoring, and he had to stick to field goals or going for it on 4th down. Tim did mention Ice being a service academy or a former Navy man. I don't know if that's true, but fun fact for the league, Ice was almost a United States of America bobsledder. There's a fun fact for you. He was a big time bobsledder, and I think he took a serious injury in the sport, so he had to let it go. And I don't know if I know I shared a faulty link, but the man is stronger than an ox. He bench pressed 405 the other day. What an animal! Like it was nothing. So I think he would win in the weight room, but unfortunately, he's going to lose on the field in this one. Give me Air Force Smith, Steven.
Yeah, the league picked Navy. They were the only one to pick Navy this week, which a really interesting week for the NDL as well. The United States, right? Two big branches of the military that we're utilizing overseas right now. Obviously, a shout out to any military personnel in the NDL and stuff that have served formally. Man, we salute you guys. Obviously, there's been some deaths and stuff overseas and stuff like that, so it always hits home if you have any military friends and family right now that are overseas right now fighting for the United States, fighting for freedom, right? But some big matchups in the NDL coming up. Obviously, we appreciate you guys in the chat. Rain mentions Ice has been at Navy for 2 seasons, and he does run the option there at Navy. And I think he's ran the option anywhere he's went military-wise, academy-wise in the NDL. And I'm with you, Pat. I think Razor's the best conference commissioner. No knock at any of the other ones that are really great at what they do. But he just kind of set the standard when we came back. And he's been, consistently in the same conference, consistently really hyping up the Sun Belt. And obviously, the Sun Belt's been very successful in representing mid majors in the CFP. So, and obviously, they have a chance to do it again this season.
Absolutely.
Man, what are you going to do the rest of the day, Penguin?
Got some house husband duties. I've got some laundry to take care of, and I believe there's a dog pen that needs cleaning, and ducks have been getting out. So I need to take a look and figure out how the ducks are getting out.
They're flying.
There's this little shitty fence around the whole pond area where they are to keep them out from going into the road and stuff, and some of them keep coming out there. It's more of a nuisance, and if they get left out during the night, raccoons or, fun fact, skunks will come around and kill the ducks and eat them, and they'll eat just the head for some godforsaken reason.
If I learn anything as a kid, ducks fly together.
Amen, Gordon Bombay.
One of the greatest.
Well, these guys don't know the flying V. They're pretty defenseless.
Oh man, you should teach them. Do you think you could teach your ducks the flying V?
I doubt that. I very much. They are idiots.
Pat, what are you doing the rest of the day?
Like I told a girl, I had to call AAA to come change my tire because I don't own a car jack, and Ice lives in Utah, unfortunately, so he can't lift the damn thing up for me, so I can change it. So I've got that going on.
You can't change your own tire?
Again, Penguin, you need a jack to lift the car up, and I don't own one of those. So yes,
Every
no,
car doesn't come with a jack.
It's nowhere to be found in the damn trunk. So yeah, I guess I don't have one. Certainly can change my own tire though. And then I'm going out in the city around 4 or 5 o'clock, going to a bar that has an Irish band playing. So that'll be sick. And then I'll probably not tell my friends I'm leaving and exit early like I always do. So that's kind of how it goes. Be home by 9 o'clock and probably order some Jets pizza. That sounds great right now.
So then why wait? Go ahead and order it now. It's lunchtime for you.
It is. I've got some food downstairs that I probably need to reheat before it hits the trash can.
Okay. All right. Well,
Yeah, absolutely.
What about you, Hubbard? What's
about
on your
you?
agenda to kick off your spring break weekend?
man, I haven't played the show yet. I did pay the extra amount to get it early, so I probably should do that, or I wasted that money. But I'm going to play Big Mike at 1 p.m. God's time, Central Time today. I'm going to play Big Mike. So
Wow.
we'll see if I can continue.
Okay.
Go ahead, Penguin.
I'm gonna shut out one thing in there. If anyone's playing the new Warzone mode this weekend, hit me up. I'd love to play with some people who actually talk, and like the assholes who I played with all last night, and actually try to play win a game. So
Penguin,
nobody
that's
wants
the
to play
game.
that.
That's the game I
Yeah.
deleted on my PlayStation so I could house
Make room for
MLB.
the show.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
had to make room for the
I
show,
had
and
to,
that's the
I
game
had
I
to let a
deleted.
game go too. I was hoping it was NCAA, but I got a few more games left. Jeremy, or I guess I would ask the chat, does anyone else have any games planned today? There's no better conversation starter for me when I go out to the bars and I'm watching a game on Twitch in a crowded bar. Someone will always come over to me and start talking to me.
MJ Kemp is playing UMass or whoever he's playing. It's scheduled tonight. You guys may not have saw it because it's been covered up already, but Rain said in block 1 they didn't have to sim any of the games. There was a couple extensions granted because there's a new coach that was brought in, and so they granted an extension, and all the other games are scheduled already. And so that's really good news. That's awesome. That's exciting stuff that they're on top of that and everything. But I know Kemp said that he was playing tonight. Mizzou and Miami play tonight. That's a big one. I don't know when. Big Red obviously lacking details, but just says Mizzou versus Miami. I'm just trying to catch up here. He just says
Big Red doesn't even know what day it is today.
Yeah, he just says tonight. Okay, well, so
he was born in 03, by the way. We've been paying taxes for multiple years before the kid was born. So.
It's serious. Yeah, my Social Security account's loaded.
I'm blown away when someone wasn't born before 9/11. Like that's what always throws me off.
Right. Yeah.
You know, I've worked 40 hours a week since '97. So
Syracuse and Duke play today. Syracuse and Duke play today.
You guys are talking about Mighty Ducks. Half these guys weren't even born that movie came out. Pat, they just know the crappy versions came out.
They think you're talking about the NHL team.
That OG Mighty Ducks jersey is so awesome. I always see at least one person out wearing it.
Yep.
It's such a good look.
I agree.
We can all agree that hockey jerseys trump any other sport for the best jerseys, I think.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. I would agree.
Absolutely.
I'd agree. Well, there you have it, man. Next week, I will be gone. I'll be in Shreveport, Louisiana for girls volleyball. Exciting stuff, right? Yeah. Exciting stuff. But Drew will be stepping in as the host for the game day. And so that'll be exciting. Our boy Drew Baca. If you haven't checked out their show with him and Blue right now, it's an amazing show that they do, the Drew and Blue show. As well as we have a new Outliers episode that was posted last night. Man, so I did some yard work last night, and it's like my favorite show to listen to, obviously, because they talk about the Washington State Cougars and stuff like that. But they do such a great job of really spotlighting the mid-major teams. And they literally, Vic and Sammy and Doc, they go through every single team and every matchup. They do such a great job of putting some spotlight and detail. It's my favorite show to listen to in the NDL. But man, tons of NDL content and stuff was pumped out the last couple weeks. And then obviously Coach Chip, give him a shout out and stuff. He does his little podcast for his conference there. Just waiting for Jeremy to kind of bump his game up and do something for the SEC, you know?
Yeah, do something.
I think we were pretty lucky just to have Jeremy on the show today.
Wow.
You know?
I mean, where the hell were you going to be at? I mean, luckily somebody had to come. You couldn't fix your flat or you wouldn't be here, right? I mean.
Jeremy sent his AAA over to Pat so that Pat could be on the show.
Yeah. We got hold on a second. Oh, and then finally we're going to have Texas Tech and Utah are actually going to pull their skirts off and get out there on the field, locked in Monday at noon. We're getting a day game. It's about time. Clearly, I know the story behind this. One guy is definitely dodging the other, and it isn't Marion County. So, more just put your big boy pants on and play the damn video game, please. Christ's sake.
Wow.
Bulletin board material, man. If Mort wins,
video game.
I will never speak ill of a midday game during the week.
Yeah, man.
I already know my Monday's already better.
Yep.
I can probably turn that one off at halftime.
If I'm sitting at my desk, eat a bowl of ramen and enjoy it.
Right. So, hey, don't forget about Sharp. Don't forget about Sharp. All our listeners, we're talking about that pregame. They put out a little bit of a presser. Man, I'll see if I can find it here. A little bit of a presser. I think it was Andy put it out, pinning the media shows. Game Day is 19-14 plus 151 coins. Outliers is 2-13 Negative 3,469 cones or coins, not cones. Hot route is 3 and 10, minus 1893. I'll tell you what, you guys are definitely carrying us on the game day because I am like negative 4,000 coins, and so one of you guys is doing really well in the sharp. But I think I've only
I
made like
was
one
7-1.
bet.
I was 7-1 there for a little bit, and then Louisville went ahead and just screwed it all up for everybody. But and by the way, Tim, great to hear from you. The only time I get to hear from you is on the show. So we'll see you next week.
I know, right? Oh
Or
man,
no, we won't, right?
it'll be the 22nd, I think, is when you'll be blessed with me again.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
count the chickens.
Like
the
I
days.
said, get with Pirate Flag. He'll make a good video for you. I gave him the idea for mine when I was allowed to come back, and he picked it up and ran with it. But yeah, he'll come up with something good for you.
Jeremy, what's a bet on the sharp side? I'm looking right now on the sharp side. What's a bet you're taking on the sharp side?
Utah minus 24.5 against West Virginia.
Wow. Yeah.
I mean, literally, because MC is taking this personal, by the way. And when a guy who's that good is taking it personal with a better roster against not a bad roster, a worse roster, sorry, Weasel. Like it could go bad.
You think it's over 65.5, or you just think it's like a 42 to
no, because we have the
7
35-point rule. So
yeah.
If we didn't have the 35-point rule, which maybe we do or we don't, I don't know. Just kidding. I'm gonna take no. It won't get to 65. I think it's gonna be like a 49 to 14 game. He'll get one late.
So I'm on a parlay that then, because you said it was a game. I'm parlaying the points and the under.
Don't see. This is why game day is going to lose. Don't do parlays. There's a sucker born every minute, and they bet parlays. Take straight bets only. That's why Las Vegas has
Well, I tried the straight
story
bets because I thought I was parlaying, and I did straight bets, and I lost like 9 out of the 10.
Oh, don't do parlays, please.
Yeah, parlays are for suckers. Also, what's for suckers is taking one of your game day brethren to make the playoffs on a future bet.
Ooh,
Was that Penguin?
yeah.
Was that Penguin?
Yeah.
Wow, the double bird.
It's not over. It's not over. I will never leave the hat at home again when I play the rest of the season. That mistake will not be repeated.
Nothing like blaming a piece of fashion on your loss. My goodness, take some accountability, make better decisions on the field.
You mentioned
It is decision. I made the decision to not take the hit with me.
You mentioned parlays,
and I paid the price.
There's nothing more fun though than when you're in Vegas betting during March Madness and you have a 3-game parlay and you hit the last leg of that. Is pretty exciting.
It's horrible because I'm in line to get food and I've got some guy like you telling me about his damn parlay in line. He's like, I got one more leg. I'm gonna hit
Oh
it.
man, I remember I think it was like a UConn game or something, and we were going to hit the parlay and we had the points, and it was coming down to the stretch, and it was just back and forth between like maybe it was like 7.5 or something, and it was back and forth at the end of the game. We were at Hogs and Heifers down on Fremont Street, right? And it was it was like a Thursday night, right? So it wasn't very packed. And we were just going absolutely nuts in there screaming, and it was just us doing it. Obviously, no one else at the Hogs and Heifer bar dressed in leathers cared, but it was a blast. And I don't obviously win very many parlays when I bet. So
I've never bet a hockey game in my life. Of course, I went to the Stars game Thursday, and I thought, you know what, got to have a little reason to watch this thing and care about it. Took the Stars in the over. Good call there. The over was 6.5, and it was like 7-2. So hit a parlay this week, but it is for suckers, Pat. Don't do it. It's not recommended.
Yeah, no, definitely not recommended, but exciting.
Yeah, it's like when you go play craps. If you just bet the real simple stuff, you're gonna win quite a bit of the times. But once you start betting all that other sucker bets, that's where you start losing your money.
Or you take a number at the roulette wheel. That seems smart.
Pat, what's your big bet? What are you telling everyone to bet?
I can't, again, because I don't own like a PC. I'm on a work computer, so I'm on my phone. So I can't pull the short right up on my computer. It gets blocked. So I think if memory serves, I do have Oregon covering the spread on the sharp site for a match. I hate to admit that, but I do.
Well, the Indiana the Indiana-Iowa game is Indiana negative 215, 4.5, and the over 65.5.
Yes,
I-
Matt. I'm a 4.5 point favorite, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What kind of crooked ass line is that?
Well, Penguin is not the favorite against Ole Miss, but I hit the over, right? 65.5. Like they might have that at halftime.
Guys, I have a hot take.
Probably.
I think Ole Miss might make our championship game this year. What I've seen so far. I'm being dead ass serious right now. Hot take.
There you go.
There it is. There's a hot take.
Well, he can't when he loses. He won't be able to do that when he loses to LSU this week, Penguin. I need to start being nice to people too, because you're going to have a couple losses. We're going to need you to campaign to get in the playoffs so I can win my bet. So you need to start being nicer to people, Penguin.
Hey, I'm going to bring my hat and I'm going to do my best to learn from our last game. It's going to be a hell of a challenge, and I owe him one to begin with. So I mean, not guaranteeing shit, but we're going to give him hell.
As someone who had used Baylor our first season this game, I know how frustrating that team can be, especially the quarterback who's severely overrated in the game. And I just think Jumper just didn't have a great team last year, and I think he has a squad right now that really, really, really suits the way that he plays. And I just don't see. It's going to be tough for someone to stop him for all 4 quarters because I scrimmed with Ole Miss. They were a team on my radar, and they are good. Like they are fast, and the quarterback is awesome. So
Yeah,
we'll see, and the running back's good too.
The team fits him well. He's definitely that might be one of the most dangerous offenses in the league, no doubt.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he averages over 50 points a game right now. Good luck.
Yeah.
Well, gentlemen, it's been real,
I
man.
have a feeling we're all going to be fat ass sacks on this next week with some L's. That's just my feeling on it. But we'll see how she goes.
Nothing a good glass of whiskey can't fix.
Yeah, absolutely. Describe the taste of the whiskey to me when I see you next week. This Friday.
All right, I'll go with Wild Turkey 101 Rye. Will be the choice.
Lord.
Yeah.
No wonder you fall asleep in bathrooms
Yeah,
at
so-
8 p.m. on a Friday
Yeah, it
night.
tastes
Dude,
like a duck's
single
butthole.
glass.
There you go.
Henry's not here pouring for me, so it's not like that. I'm having a single glass.
If you don't
My
know
guy
it,
Danny was so disappointed in you at the poker table.
yeah. If you don't know it, Penguin spent the first night partying, hanging out at the pool, and then he spent the better half of the end of the night hugging the porcelain god. You know, he was he slept in the bathroom, so we didn't have to worry about a bed that night. And so hey man, party hard. We all went pretty hard that first night.
By the absence of game day the next morning.
Yeah, geez, jerks. We were like, man, we're gonna do it. And everybody else, Pat's like, dude, we're not gonna do it, man. We're having way too much fun. We ain't gonna do it. And me and Phony are like, yeah, no, we're gonna do it. And I sure shit did not. I went to bed at like 4:00 in the morning.
I feel bad for Phony, dude. He was out front doing high knees and shit, getting ready for the show, and just never happened.
I didn't feel better until I had some crawfish in me later that afternoon.
Oh yeah, that was good.
That shit was spicy.
Yeah, it was. It was good though.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, man, have a great Saturday, Hubbard. Enjoy your week on vacation. If you get bored during the day, let me know. We can play some baseball or football or just sit there and stare at each other. Whatever.
Hey, I'm down for any of that.
Have fun outside. Have fun and out in the Irish pub, listening to some jiggy music.
Yeah, absolutely. And you guys, good luck in all your games this week. I hope we prove all the haters wrong. This will whoop something out. I'll see you.
Love it.
See you guys.